If you've ever heard of the suspension bridge effect, the theory that you and another person would fall in love with each other the more suspenseful the environment you're in, think again because this might not be what you thought it was. Welcome to Life Study Library. In this channel, I'll be talking about these interesting and life-changing information on science and psychology by using various scholarly studies. If you want to learn more about this current topic or any other topic you're interested to learn about, please enjoy this video and don't forget to like it, subscribe to Life Study Library, and share to others that this channel, this option, exists. So the suspension bridge effect was first found in the 1970s, and it got really famous to a point where modern media still use it to help solve many romantic mysteries and advises people to go on a roller coaster with your crush and they'll like you back. Depiction of this effect is shown in many books and TV shows. However, the study was disproven by a 1981 study done by Dr. Gregory L. White and others, who concluded that the suspension bridge effect was only applicable if the couple already had romantic interest in each other. Even if Brian wanted Sally to like him back, if she wasn't already interested in him, the suspension bridge didn't improve their relationship in a meaningful way. Furthermore, if Sally wasn't interested in Brian, this act would cause her to like him less. To explain how this happened, I think it's best to start by telling you about the first study, the one that supposedly found the suspension bridge effect. This was a study done in the 70s by Dr. Donald Dutton at the University of British Columbia, who used the Capilano suspension bridge to conduct the experiment. The sampled men would cross the bridge by himself, to which an attractive woman waiting for him at the end would give him her phone number, saying something like, "If you want to know the results of the study, please call me." If the sample men mistakes the throbbing heart and the anxious sweat from the bridge crossing to the attraction he feels towards the hot woman, he can be expected to call her back. As a result, around 50% of the men who received the phone number actually did call her later, compared to only 12% of men at another experiment where they walked across a safer bridge built by concrete. According to the results, we are unable to accurately distinguish the reason behind the sudden shift in our emotion, and therefore can mistake an emotional arousal due to fear for something completely unrelated. This phenomenon was named the two-factor theory of emotion. The two-factor theory describes a situation where the interpretation of what caused the physiological reaction determines the type of emotion we feel, rather than the physiological reaction itself. Generally, we think that when we see an attractive person, the occurrence, and if we fall in love with that person, the emotion, we'll feel aroused during the interaction, the physiological reaction, and therefore the nervousness we feel is due to our romantic feeling towards that person. However, the study has proven that because the bridge was shaking, the occurrence, we feel aroused due to the danger, the physiological reaction, and assume that the reason for this arousal is due to the attractive person, and we fall in love with them. Interpreting one's physiological reaction with a false emotion is called the misattribution of arousal, which I'm sure many of you are at least familiar with it. However, there was another study done a few years later that disproved the effects of the suspension bridge effect, and reported that this whole thing wouldn't happen if the woman who called the men samples was unattractive. This study was done in 1981 and was published on the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. It used 26 men and grouped them into two, the ones who ran for 15 seconds and were not that aroused, and the ones who ran for 2 minutes and were very aroused. These men looked at a video of a woman either with attractive or unattractive makeup and rated her attractiveness while being highly aroused or less aroused. The results showed that high attractive woman was rated as more attractive when participants were highly aroused compared to when they were in a low arousal state, whereas the low attractive woman was actually rated as less attractive under high arousal. Essentially, if you're going to use the suspension bridge effect to make the other person like you better be really hot. So the main thing about the study is that the suspension bridge effect, by definition, does exist, or at least the general concept of it. Although the method often advocated on media in self-help is untrue, there are evidence of different mechanisms also being proposed. But whether or not the technique works effectively relies on our beauty level. This can also mean that if you are somehow completely sure that the other person likes you, or if you two are already a couple, you might want to try going across a suspension bridge, or any other thrilling activity for that matter. If your relationship is starting to turn stale, this might give you the spark that the both of you have been looking for. Today's recommended book is When Men Behave Badly: The Hidden Roots of Sexual Deception, Harassment, and Assault by David M. Buss. As much as the anticipatory romantic spark and the excitement can be a lot of fun, borders against certain types of people must be established, because that person whom you choose to date out of your instantaneous emotion, and oftentimes lust, might be the wrong person to date, and you might end up severely wounded, both physically and emotionally, by that scum. The book sheds light on how certain bad behaviors in dating and relationships aren't random, but often stem from deeper evolutionary and psychological patterns. By recognizing these roots, readers can better spot red flags, understand what drives toxic dynamics, and make more informed choices in love and trust. If you're interested, the Amazon link is in the description, so go check it out. If you seek a quicker introduction to the characteristics and personalities that make up both toxic men and women, I suggest you watch a video called Look for This One Trait: Quickest and Easiest Way to Detect Toxic People, so you can be introduced to the danger signs of people, both men and women, who you should not get close with and definitely not date, otherwise will get your mental health and stability ruined. I do have videos of the same topic specifically concentrated to each sex, but I think this trait talked about in the video applies the most broadly, so it'll be the go-to sign when trying to detect toxic people. If you're interested, please check it out from the description. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share Life Study Library. I've been Lye Yosh, and I'll see you in another video. Happy romance!